Stories again. Try to throw in some education history, huh? What it is history. 1970. I think I described the house. Must have cost a fortune in rent. We weren't exactly all that much charity cases anymore, I guess. We stayed there from 1970. I don't remember exactly the time of year, so I just say 1970 to 1975. I think it was 1975. 5 years. All that rent being thrown down the drain. Wasn't on me, but that comes out of the children's pocket eventually. You see, all that money thrown away on rent should have been somewhere else, so we would have got it when they died. Not that I wish them death, but that's just the way it works. Don't like that usury. So that's why I'm not poor, I'm just not even middle class. So what happened was, I remember just it being a different world. We lived on top of a real steep hill, and if you went down it real fast, it was like a plateau in the middle, little plateau, like a double hill. You need to hit it, like a little ride, carnival ride. And then across the street from the hill, on the other side was the park. So we had a place to play, but it just wasn't the same, All our friends would come over. Well, they did that at the other place, but it's still same group of friends. Then made new friends. One of my brothers and I, see the older brother, he was in a different world altogether. He was just about by now driving. He had a car. He was already driving at the other place. So, yeah. Let's see if I can get this bush off my. We just were totally in a different world. Speaking of friends, there were these two guys about our age. I think they were a year younger. And they seemed to be best friends. And then me and my other brother, we were all about 9 years and 8 years old. And we just made friends with those two, and that's who we started hanging out with them more than we did the other older ones, because they lived in the neighborhood. I don't know how to describe them without giving up. You see, once again, these famous people, both of them, this is once again another business. This one guy was related to somebody that was real big in business. I don't want to reveal any information. Just not cool. I named the family for the other one, but I know he was the one kid, we'll just call him the kid with red hair. He was the one that was always infatuated with Brian's room, you see. Me and the younger boy shared a room, and then my little sister had her own room, and my parents slept in a room, and then Big Brother had the big room. So he had a kind of a double room where there was a workspace. We used to do silk screens. We started tie-dyeing t-shirts. Remember how to do that? Take a t-shirt, just rubber band it all around. However, you don't have to make any particular design. You could if you wanted. And then you get the bands on real tight and get some dye and stir it up in some water and throw it in there. I don't remember if it had to be any particular type of water or temperature. And we make the tie dyes. But he was silk screening's very dangerous and toxic. You don't want to be messing around with that if you don't have to. Maybe he should have been more ventilated. Fortunately, he never got sick, but I heard about how silk screening was very dangerous later. And he was an artist. He didn't like for us to call him an artist. He could draw anything. It was amazing. He likes to refer to himself he said, don't call me a cartoonist either, because I'm not that either. I'm an illustrator. That's what he could do. He could draw all the hippie posters, mostly Beatles stuff. Had all on his walls, and one kid was just infatuated with it. So, we used to play together. We had pellet guns, firecrackers, rockets. Sometimes just sit around telling stories about what we were about. Both of those kids were from broken homes. Like you might remember the previous story about Terry. Well, that's all that's new to me. Everybody else we knew was from the traditional family. Nobody was divorced. Nobody divorced. All our little friends, there was like as many as a dozen of them that would come over to the other house and still would come over and be still involved. And I can just think of like about 10 of them in the families, and nobody ever got divorced unless it was way later, long after I left, decades later. So one day there was a dog running around, a young dog, and the one kid peed on him. I don't know why. But it kept hanging around. Maybe we fed it something so it stayed and we adopted it. There was no formal procedure like it is now. And we never had a leash for it. It would just follow us around on our bicycles. And it was a fun dog to play with. So when we started going to the new school in the neighborhood, it was a very, very old school. I think it dated back to the main building they had added on, but there was still a main building with an old fireplace of some kind. And I think it dated back to the 1840s. And that was where the administration had that part of the building. And then we were in the back in Quonset huts. That tells me World War II era, maybe, when they added that. Maybe they were left over from World War II. I don't know how they got there. Somebody knows. And so they had the playground, the whole 9 yards, this and that, but it was just different because they had started integrating, and this was the first time I was exposed to the black children, and they were just very interesting, but they could get mean at times, because of the wealth gap. So if the teacher starts talking about the history of slavery and all that, then it could just you could certainly understand why that they could get upset. Most people got along. But it was kind of funny the way the dog, it would follow us boys on our bikes. I don't think that school was, it was less than half a mile away. Maybe a half a mile. And it would just follow us on our bikes and come inside the classroom, and all the children were laughing, and we would try to get it to leave. And I guess when maybe I just spoke to it and said, "You gotta go home." This is, I think he found its way back home. It's kind of smart dog. So anyway, we were the one kid that would always we would walk home together. Sometimes, most of the time, and that would stop, just get things out of the trash. We'd find like these fluorescent lights. They're like bombs. We'd smash them and they blow up, sort of making it kind of like an explosion, all this powder coming out of them. Just then go home and like I say, it was a different world. If it sounds to start out boring, it wasn't. Around that time, maybe about a year later, is when we started riding motorcycles. Big Brother had a big Kawasaki, and we had